Hi friends, thank you for joining me today. Let me fill you in on what I'm working on here. During the holidays, I like to include a thank you gift in my orders. Last year, I sent out a handmade ornament to my top supporters, but this year I wanted something simpler and useful to include in all my orders, but I didn't want it to feel too corporate-y swaggy, if you know what I mean. I wanted something handmade, but simple enough that wouldn't take tons of time to make, and it also needed to be affordable. A notepad seemed like a fun idea. I added the handmade touch with DIY printing. I decided to go the rubber stamp route. Once I had my design, I got a stamp laser cut. I could have attempted to hand carve the design, but not only was this a rushed project, I didn't have the patience or years of practice to achieve the quality I wanted. I began by playing with water-based block printing ink, and that didn't turn out very well. I'm sure it's a lack of experience and knowledge with working with this ink, but I found it challenging to work with. The ink dried out very quickly. Thinning it out with a brayer also made it dry very quickly. I attempted to stamp with it thick, but it wasn't working. I know there are products to extend the ink, but I didn't want to invest in this method and decided to move to another technique, and that was with Inkpads. Craft stores have many options and I didn't know what would work, so I took home several brands to test. Let's go over the options with my little experiment. This is a dye Inkpad, and what I noticed was the ink actually penetrated the paper a little bit more. And with this one, which is a pigment ink, it kind of sat on top of the paper. Now, even though I liked the vibrancy and the sharpness of this ink pad a lot more, it was rubbing off. Even after letting it dry for 3 or 4 days, I still noticed that there was quite a bit of smudging. Here's an example of some of the smudging that I did on this test piece. This was after 3 days of drying. It was not really absorbing into the paper as opposed to this one. This one, there was absolutely no issue with the ink being absorbed, which was nice. Now, another big difference that I liked between the ink pads and the block printing ink was for the finer details, like the logo. I just liked how it was a little bit, I mean, this is not the best example, but here we have how much cleaner the logo was printed than using the block printing ink. So that was another difference that I preferred with the ink. Then the problem became how to solve this rubbing off issue. And what I did, I ended up buying and spraying Krylon crystal clear spray varnish, and that took care of the situation with the smudging. So I've used crystal clear quite a few times when I was in art school, and it had been quite a while since I had used it, and this was also the first time I used the matte. So I don't know if that was why I got some of the spotting, which I feel like kind of ruined the pieces, and there was about 9 of them that turned out this way. I don't know if I was too close, not close enough. I did try respraying a few, and the white spots just got larger in some of these cases. So, but the ones that didn't have that spotting turned out really well. The ink is now permanent. It's not rubbing off, and it's a really good solution to take care of those. But I don't really want to deal with the varnish anymore since I didn't have the greatest experience with it. I'm going to try a few more inks. I'm going to try this Jacquard ColorPad. So by the way, the one that was rubbing off was this one, the Recollections. Got this from Michaels. I also got this one from Michaels, the Craft Smart. So this was actually cheaper, and again, this is the one that looked the best compared to the two. But today I'm going to try this Jacquard ColorPad. It is a pigment, but I'm hoping that it doesn't rub off. So it says dry time depends on the surface. Hamilton Art Pad. This one, what I like about it is that the actual ink pad is not as porous, I guess. It's a little bit more solid compared to this. This has a little bit more texture, so I don't know if that's going to affect the printing. I doubt it, since the blue one that I tried that was smudging did have that same texture. This one was a little bit more solid, so I'm hoping that this green one is successful, because I really like that green. And drying time varies. I got this one, the Delicata. And this is actually a metallic shimmer green, which is kind of exciting to try. I love green and I love shimmer, so hopefully this is also a winner. This one has a little bit of texture, not as much as the red pad, but dries within minutes on porous paper. So we'll see what the situation is with this one. I know that some people actually use this on fabric, so this might be a really good solution. Memento Luxe. And I did get all of this on Black Friday sale, so I did get a really good deal on all of these. Otherwise, I don't think I would have purchased them. And this one is a really beautiful navy. Now this one's, I think this is the one that's in the back, mentions that it needs to be heat set. Heat set ink for permanence on porous surface, including fabric. And the last one, the Archival ink. The word permanent is what really attracted me to this. I'm hoping, again, that there is no smudging. It could be used with water-based ink guys, acrylic, watercolors. So I think this one's supposed to be really good for mixing. We'll see. And I like how this pad looks, that it's pretty solid. So looks like it's pretty heavily pigmented. So Archival ink. I'm looking forward to trying these new colors and pads to see how they do. And I'm using this little gadget. I'm covering up the sign, but it is We Are Precision Press Advanced. So this is really used for repeatable stamping, and the idea is that you take down your stamp and the pegs line up with these holes, and you're able to constantly do the same repeatable stamping without there being a lot of misalignment. And I thought I was going to need this because just in case there was any sections that were missing, but I noticed that the Inkpads do a pretty good job, and if I press it down enough throughout the whole piece, I don't really need to re-ink and restamp. But so that's what I'm using. So the idea is I am putting one of the notepads here on the edge, and I'm gonna go ahead and ink up this piece, and I'm gonna try first the Jacquard and Ruby, and I just go over it. All right, so let's try this one first. And I'm pressing it evenly down, and I noticed in the previous ones that some of the leaves were having a harder time coming out complete. So just putting a little bit more pressure there. There we go. I think that looks beautiful, and I think for this, because it's my first time inking it, it's coming out kind of light. So let me go ahead and re-ink. I don't really need to do the logo that much again, or the lettering. So all right, so let's see, let's give this one more try. This is aligned to the edge, and let's do this. Oh, much better. This is really nice print. So now, before I move on to another color, I am taking just like a baby wipe, or you know, one of these, and rubbing off the ink so my colors don't get contaminated. And just taking a paper napkin to kind of just absorb any ink. Okay, I am back. It has actually been over a day. The original testing of the stamps was done on a Saturday afternoon around noon, and today is a Monday at 10 a.m. So these things have had over 24 hours to dry, and we're going to be doing the rubbing, test rubbing to see if they're rubbing off. And I'm going to start with the red one. So again, this was the Jacquard ColorPad Ruby, and here we have two of the notepads. So my hands are dry and clean. I'm just gonna go ahead and see if it rubs off, and it does. So that's unfortunate. So that means that for these notepads, I'm gonna have to spray that crystal clear, which it's not a good option for me, and I'm glad I only did 2. This did not pass the rub off test, so sad because I really like that color. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the Delicata. So this one, when I was moving the pieces over, I was pleasantly surprised that you could actually see the shimmer. When it was wet, you couldn't really see it, you couldn't really notice, and it's a little difficult to capture it on video as well, but I think you could kind of see that there is a shimmer compared to this flat ink. So that's really exciting. And I'm gonna go ahead and just take a new finger. Okay, this is not rubbing off. Let me take a paper napkin and see. Yeah, this is good. I like this. Makes me so happy. So the next one is another green, and this is the Hamilton Art, and this is a flat green. Let's compare it one more time with the shimmer. As you can see, there is a noticeable difference in the shine, which is nice. So let's see if the Hamilton Art passes the rub test. Ready? Oh, it does rub off. Oh, wah, wah, wah. So not as much, but it's definitely rubbing off. Okay, so now we're gonna try the Memento Luxe Nautical Blue, and this is the one that mentions heat setting it. I don't have a heat gun, so we're just gonna have to see how this does. So trying my, okay, even with no heating, it is not rubbing off, or is that, let's see. Yep, there is no rub off. So another winner, which is great. This is a really beautiful navy blue. The Ranger Archival ink, and I'm hoping that this one doesn't rub off because it is permanent and it was laying on really nicely on the stamp. All right, let me take a clean finger and it's okay, good. Another that passed the test. There is no rub off. Let me try it with the paper napkin. Okay, so Archival ink, another success. Really happy with this one. I really love this kind of like maroon purple. So here we have all the winners. These all passed the rub test. The ink did not transfer onto my hand or another piece of paper, which is awesome. I am really disappointed with this one because I just love the color, and I hope that one of these 3 brands has something very similar that I could use. I hope you all enjoyed coming along on this little experiment with me. I know I had a lot of fun doing this and kind of recording my process, and I hope to do more of this kind of like experimentation. I love exploring new crafts and trying new supplies.